Hello everyone, I'm Sheldon Baker, the host of Healthy Bytes. My guest today is Dr. Trevor Cates. She's a naturopathic doctor, the author of best-selling books Clean Skin from Within and Natural Beauty Reset. She is also the founder of a natural skincare and supplement company focused on supporting healthy skin from the inside out. She received her medical degree from the National University of Natural Medicine in 2000 and became the first woman licensed as a naturopathic doctor in California. For more than 25 years, Utah-based Dr. Cates has helped women around the world address skin and hormone-related concerns by identifying root causes and supporting the body through nutrition, lifestyle medicine, and targeted nutraceuticals. Dr. Cates' work has been featured on numerous network television shows. She is also the host of the Women's Doctor podcast, the Spa Doctor podcast, and the 10-part documentary series, Hormones, Health, and Harmony. Dr. Cates, thank you for joining me today on Healthy Bytes.
Great, thank you so much.
So in Natural Beauty Reset, you say the skin reflects what's happening inside the body. Why is it so important to address skin concerns by supporting overall health from the inside out?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times people don't realize the important connection between our skin and what's going on inside our bodies. And our skin, I call it our magic mirror because it gives us this great reflection of what's going on, oftentimes inside the body. And a lot of times imbalances in the body can show up first on the skin. For example, low thyroid function can sometimes show up as dry skin. That can be one of the early signs of hypothyroidism. And so we want to look, it helps us identify maybe root causes that could then lead to other health issues.
In your book, you also discuss a seasonal approach to supporting the body. How can aligning skincare, nutrition, and lifestyle with seasonal changes help improve hormone balance and health in general?
Yeah, well, it's really important to get the nutrients that our body needs. And when we eat seasonally, that helps us make sure that we get the most nutrients possible from our foods. Also, when the seasons change and the amount of sunlight we're getting changes, also can impact our sleep. It impacts our hormones in different ways. Things like cortisol tends to be higher in the winter time and lower in the summertime, for example. So when we do things for food, movement, mindset, and skincare that align with the seasons, then that helps support our hormonal balance because we're really getting in touch with those changes. And so instead of doing the same thing year round, I'm encouraging people to mix it up with these 4 different areas: food, movement, mindset, and skincare. And I do talk about that in Natural Beauty Reset so that people really understand how they can change it with each season and help support their body in adjusting. So because there are things like higher stress or mood issues or sleep problems, energy, all of these things can be impacted seasonally. And so when we do things that really support our lifestyle that shift with each season, then we can create more balance.
You know, in most states, we have time change forward and backwards. Does that affect our skin?
Well, a little bit. It's only an hour difference, so not as much. I do see it does impact people's resilience and sleep because even just that hour difference or traveling across time zones can be hard for people to adjust. And if it isn't addressed, or if you don't address those sleep issues or stress issues, then ongoing that can lead to skin problems. But if you address it early on, then it should be okay. But it's that ongoing stress. So if cortisol, for example, is elevated for too much, of course we have that high cortisol in the morning and then it lowers at night. But if it's constantly, our body is constantly in the state of stress, that increases inflammation in the body, and that can worsen skin issues or trigger skin issues.
So many health practitioners see patients struggling with fatigue, weight changes, mood shifts, and skin concerns. What are some of the most common hormonal imbalances that affect overall health and well-being?
Yeah, I mean, adrenal hormones are a big one. So cortisol is one I just mentioned. And so, for example, with cortisol, if it's too high in the evenings, then someone could have difficulty falling asleep at night. Or if their cortisol is not getting that bump in cortisol in the morning, could have difficulty waking up, getting going during the day. And that's sort of within a day. But if that cortisol level stay high and they're not having those fluctuations, that diurnal variation in the day, then that chronic elevation can lead to weight gain, especially around the midsection, and it can lead to more chronic inflammation of skin issues. So triggering things like atopic dermatitis to flare up more, rosacea, acne, any kind of chronic skin issue could worsen. And of course, DHEA is also important for both men and women. Our levels start to decline in our 30s. And so that could impact someone's kind of sense of resilience with weight and energy and as well as skin. And then for women, I mean, men and women have the same hormones, but of course, women have different levels and variations in estrogen and progesterone throughout their cycle. And then when they hit menopause, then those levels drop. And those hormones can also impact skin and weight and energy for both men and women.
They often say you're only as healthy as your gut. What role does gut health play in hormone balance, healthy skin, and overall health?
Yeah, our gut plays a tremendous role. And we, as naturopathic physicians, as a naturopathic physician, we've been talking about gut health. And I remember 26 years ago when I graduated from naturopathic medical school, we were talking about the importance of gut health and skin and hormones and sleep and weight and brain function, cognitive function. And now we're seeing more and more research that has come out since then to support what we've been saying for years. And it's really great to see this research to talking about the skin, brain, gut connection. And so when when we have imbalances in our gut microbiome, so an imbalance of the good, the harmful, or the commensal bacteria, or things like parasites or candida overgrowth or other things like that, then that can in turn impact our skin. And because our skin also has all these microorganisms that live on the surface of our skin, they're different than the ones that live in the gut. But there is this connection from the gut to the skin. And so if we have dysbiosis in the gut, a lot of times then we'll end up with dysbiosis on the skin. So an imbalance in those on the skin. And so with that, when we see an overgrowth of our certain harmful bacteria or not enough of other ones, then we could see more acne breakouts, atopic dermatitis, sensitive skin, and actually something what a lot of people don't know about is leaky skin. And there's a lot of talk about leaky gut, but there's also leaky skin. And if you think about the skin and also the gut, they're similar in that there is this barrier function. And so we want to be able to absorb some things, but also repel, right? So our skin, it does absorb things that we put on it. Just like when we eat food, our gut then absorbs nutrients. Now, of course, they're very different. The gut is way more absorptive than the skin, but just like the digestive tract lining can become more permeable than it should, and that's what causes leaky gut. This similarly with the skin, if that barrier function of the skin breaks down, then we can have leaky skin. And that leads to really reactive skin and a lot of the chronic skin issues we see. And so when we're trying to sort these things out, we're trying to address it. We want to do that both from the inside with the gut health as well as topically on the outside.
A variety of environmental toxins and endocrine disruptors are a growing concern. How do these exposures impact hormones and skin health, and what practical steps can health professionals such as yourself recommend to your patients?
Yeah. It is really important. And as I was saying, the skin is actually quite absorptive. So what we put on our skin doesn't just stay on the surface. So when we are using lotions and deodorants and hair care products and soaps and various things, those ingredients can actually, some of that can actually get into our circulation. And a lot of the chemicals a lot of the harmful chemicals are known endocrine disruptors. And so endocrine disrupting chemicals can bind to hormone receptors and either mimic or alter the way that these hormone receptors function so it can mimic certain hormones. For example, if we get exposed to estrogen mimicking chemicals and they bind to estrogen receptors, the body thinks it has estrogen. So it behaves as if it has more estrogen in the body, even though it's actually this other toxic chemical that is behaving like estrogen. And so that has been connected to a lot of different health issues, from fertility issues to also thyroid dysfunction, weight gain. The list goes on and on. Period problems in women, and so the list goes on and on with these. And so what we want to do is just do what we can to avoid these toxic chemicals as much as possible. So things like fragrance, for example, they have phthalates in them, which helps the scent last longer. But fragrance we can use things like organic essential oils instead, or go fragrance free. That's going to be a much healthier option. There are a lot of, in my books, both of my books, Clean Skin from Within and Natural Beauty Reset, I have lists of chemicals to avoid and why they're important. But fragrance is one of the big ones. And then also improving that barrier function of the skin. And so if our skin's barrier function is working well and we don't have leaky skin, we're not going to be as sensitive to and not absorb quite as much of those chemicals.
Dr. Cates, I appreciate you being here today. Some great information. And thanks to all of you for watching Healthy Bites.